murder, and everything else. My name is Joy.
And my name is Cheryl. Joy and I are two very old friends who love to talk about murder and everything else. So, you guys, as we record this, it is Joy's birthday today. Happy birthday, Joy. I already serenaded her, so I will spare everyone my singing, but I did sing her happy birthday. Cha cha cha.
And
So,
Cheryl said that we're two old friends, and today I'm older.
but I'll say it for you. I will always be older than you.
Cheryl will
Let me
always
beat
be
you,
older.
beat you to the punch.
It's so
Yep.
nice to have older friends because then they can walk you through what you could have coming up, coming down the road. Like, what do you do when you get wrinkles in certain places, and what kind of special diapers do I wear when that incontinence springs up, and where do I get the Metamucil that I mix in with my breakfast cereal? Stuff
That
like
is
that.
hilarious. I can make recommendations on all of those. Yeah.
She's absolutely right. Today is my birthday. In honor of my birthday, we're recording, which is so exciting. I have some updates today besides my birthday, and that is we need to welcome the country of Scotland to our listening
Oh my
audience.
God.
Oh,
Yay.
so
What? What?
exciting.
That is so freaking exciting, you guys.
Yeah.
Every country that we have gotten on our list of countries is exciting.
Yep. And for those of you who are dying to hear, the list of 17 countries, they are as follows: the good old USA, Australia, England, Scotland, Singapore, Canada, Russia, Israel, Ireland, the Netherlands, Philippines, India, Belgium, South Korea, Spain, Estonia, and French Polynesia. So there you have it,
Wow, my God, that is so exciting.
right?
If you are in any of those countries, can you reach out to us, murder and everything else at gmail.com? And just, I don't know, tell us how you found us. I find it so interesting.
hmm Cheryl, you got any updates?
I do. I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible, but by the time this comes out, you will all already know, anyone who followed the case, that Richard Allen was found guilty of the murders in Delphi, the two horrible murders of the two teenage girls. Um, and I am very upset about it. I want justice for the girls, but I want the right person to be held accountable. And if the right person is not convicted, then that's not justice. And I will talk about it later. That's all I got to say about that right now.
I think you're going to do an episode on it, right? Or I should say, we.
Well, I told you, after the verdict came out a few days ago, as of this recording, I'm still upset. And at first I was like, I can't talk about this anymore. Um, and yet every waking moment I'm watching something that has to do with with his conviction. But yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about it. It'll probably be the closeout of my murder list for this year, for 2024.
Oui, mon chéri. I had to throw a little
Boy,
French in there for
oh my
our friend
God.
Francois.
I don't know where that came from. Okay.
Anyway, rolling on to shout outs. I have a shout out today for Podbean. Guys, we are being listened to on multiple streaming platforms. I'm sure you've heard us talk about them. I'm not going to run through them all since I ran through all of the countries that were being listened in, and that was 17. But we're also being listened to, I discovered, besides Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Audible and Amazon Music and YouTube. Okay, I ran through them. Anyway, we're being listened to on Podbean. I didn't even know we were on Podbean. So,
Wow.
yay.
That is awesome. Podbean and Scotland. Scotland?
Yep.
Yeah.
Scotland and Podbean. So, thank you to our listeners on Podbean. Thank you for giving us a listen. And if you are getting your podcasts on Podbean, head over to Murder and Everything Else and Everything But the Kitchen Sink and listen to us. Okay?
Yeah. All right.
Cheryl, you got any shout outs?
I do. I already shouted these people out, but I have to give them another shout out. I want to shout out all the people, the lawyers, the YouTubers, the content creators who set aside a chunk of their lives to line up and go through to extreme measures to get in the courthouse of the Delphi trial. I already explained it on a previous episode, so I won't go into what they went through. But I will say that for the last day for the verdict, the people that I listened to were trying to be very civil and line up in a civil manner and have some type of, process of how to get in the courtroom. And shame on some people, I think it was 2 or 3 that just ran up and cut in line after these people have been waiting in line for days or hours. So shame on them. But anyway, I do want to give a shout out to the people that went to extreme measures to bring us the information, because the trial was not televised, nor was even the audio recording released. So shout out to them. Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. Cheryl told me that when I say interesting, she can tell I'm not listening.
So now she's going to pick a different word.
Now I'm going to say crazy. Anyway, letters from our listeners. Guys, my sister-in-law reached out to tell me that she listened to our episode on pet peeves and it impressed her to clean out her fridge. And then she sent me a picture of her clean refrigerator. So thank you for reaching out, sister-in-law. And thank you for listening to our podcast. I'm so happy that we influenced someone in a positive way to clean their refrigerator.
Right?
Exciting.
Did I influence anyone? I can't even remember what my pet peeves were, but I'm making a list for another one, for our next pet peeves 3 or whatever number this is.
Right. We could do 100 episodes on pet peeves.
Oh God.
Cheryl, do you have any letters from our listeners?
No, but I'm dying for you to share the one that you have.
All right, guys.
Go ahead.
So I know we've talked about it in the past, but we got a negative comment from someone named Jay Blair in season 1, and we talked about it a lot because it was so exciting. Cheryl and I said, when you start getting hate, that means you've really arrived.
Oh, but no, I did not. No, you need to correct that from Cheryl and I to I, because you were the only one that was happy about it.
But anyway, this week we got a comment from someone that neither Cheryl or I know in person, we got 2 comments, which was so exciting. So just want to shout out Elena. Thank you so much for posting comments. And also she said she gave us positive, creative, constructive feedback and asked us to keep our
stop yammering
to a minimum. It would make the podcast better. And then also she said that she really appreciates our research, hard work, insight, and energy into all the cases we choose to highlight. She says she knows it takes a lot of time and energy to commit to doing a podcast. Keep up the good work. The true crime community appreciates us. So thank you so much, Elena. You have no idea how excited we were for your comments and also for the feedback. And guys, this is the way to do it. Leave a nice comment like that with some great creative and constructive criticism. Believe me, at my age, I don't even care if it's nice, but any kind of feedback is feedback.
Well, I just think that if you don't like people, then you don't have to say anything at all. But if it's constructive, we really appreciate that, Elena. We're sorry, we apologize. We just like to hear the sound of our own voice. Yeah. So sometimes we yammer on. Joy more than me. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Cheryl and I are professional yappers, if you couldn't tell. And but also, True story. We spend a shitload of time just yapping about other stuff too. Imagine, Cheryl, if we recorded all the
The
yapping we did on
entire,
today's
oh
episode.
God, this would
Oh
be
my
a
God.
3 hour.
We
It
could
would
have
be a
like a
3 hour.
10-hour podcast, just a stream of nonsense.
Elena, you have no idea what we've edited from what actually gets uploaded. But in all seriousness, I want to thank you, Elena, so much. You gave us the shot in the arm that we needed to not listen. We love all our listeners and appreciate you. And with all the channels and people I follow, I'm a silent listener. I rarely ever comment. So I get it for all of you that just want to listen and not say anything and just stay silently in the background. We appreciate you too. But Elena, thank you very much. Enjoy. I think I'm going to coin a phrase, Elena time. So it'll be like a safe word, right? Like, like kicking someone under the table when we're going too long. I'm going to be like, Elena time. Elena time. You gotta
That's
stop.
so great. That's so good. Like Tig and Cheryl have their Snurf bowls, we'll have Elena time.
Yes,
Oh my
Elena, you
God.
don't know how happy you've made us because this is a labor of love and we appreciate the constructive feedback. I love that she gave us constructive feedback.
And on that note, stop yammering because we have to
Elena
actually get
time.
to
Elena
the meat
time.
and potatoes. But guys, this week we are taking a U-turn, and Cheryl is bringing us right back to the meat and potatoes, which is something very salacious and also
Ugh.
very awful. So take it away, Cheryl.
Salacious and awful. That's my
Yikes.
stage name. Okay, we are going to talk. I want to talk about this because Joy, I just cannot even understand that these things happen. There's so much crazy stuff in this world, and I am just blown away that people actually thought this was a good idea. Today, we are going to be talking about the nanny and husband charged with murder. I think you guys can already start, your minds are already going as to what this is about. It's probably pretty self explanatory with that title, Nanny and Husband Charged with Murder. I wonder who they
Wow.
murdered. Excuse me. My sources are people.com, Yahoo News, foxnews.com, and the New York Times. And a huge shout out to my girl, Gisela K, who hosts YouTube's show Grizzly True Crimes. I'm a fan of hers. Talk about working hard. This woman, I could tell she puts so much time into her channel, which has grown like in the last year, I think. And I hear about cases that I would not have heard of if it weren't for her. So, Gisela K, thank you very much. And here we go, guys. So, by all appearances, Christine and Brendan Banfield were a happily married couple who doted on their daughter Valerie, whom they both adored. Christine grew up on Long Island and graduated from, and here insert Cheryl massacres a name, Quinnipiac.
It's
What do you say?
Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac. I was close. So
Close.
Christine grew up on Long Island and graduated from Quinnipiac University with a nursing degree in 2007. And Brendan studied accounting at St. Joseph's University on Long Island. The family of three would move to a beautiful mansion in Fairfax County, Virginia in 2019. Already a dedicated nurse and patient advocate, Christine Banfield seemed to go above and beyond during the pandemic. One of her patients said she was an angel. During the pandemic, he remembers waking up from a week-long coma to see Christine's kind face beside his bed. In 2021, the Banfields hired a live-in nanny to help with their toddler. Already,
Oh
we know
boy.
where this is going.
Oh yeah, we do.
Okay, Edra, I'm going to need help with this, my Spanish speaking friend. The nanny's name is Juliana Perez Malgajeas.
Well, first of all, I don't speak Portuguese. And that's
Oh,
first.
okay. See, that's how far off I am. Well, it looks like Spanish, so give it a shot.
I'm going to say it's Juliana Perez Magalhaes or Magalhaes or Magalhães. I don't know. Let's
Laugh at
just go with
myself.
Juliana.
That's who she's going to be referred to henceforth. I apologize to our Brazilian listeners. Are they? They're not one of our countries yet, right?
Not yet.
But yeah, I apparently don't know Portuguese from Spanish, but it's no hate. It's just my stupidity. Um, so she's from Brazil, and by my calculations, she was only 18 or 19 at the time she was hired. Christine wanted their new au pair to feel welcome, and she researched local restaurants that Juliana might be interested in. Juliana wanted to travel and learn English, says a friend from Brazil. She was excited because she just graduated from nursing classes and was coming to live with a nurse, so they had so much in common. In Virginia, Juliana seemed so happy, says her friend. It was easy. Everything was working perfectly until it wasn't. On the morning of February 24th, 2023, police officers responded to 911 calls placed by the nanny Juliana and found a scene they would describe as appalling.
Oh
In a
boy.
second story bedroom, officers found Christine naked except for her socks, bleeding from fatal stab wounds to the neck. She died later that day at a hospital. Nearby was the dead body of Joe Ryan, who was 39, who authorities say arrived at the house that morning for a prearranged sex date. He had gunshot wounds in the head and chest. Also at the bloody smeared scene were Juliana and Christine's husband, Brendan, as well as a bloody knife, two handguns, and a bag filled with fetish sex accessories. Valerie, then 4 years old, was found unharmed in the basement.
Whoa.
During during a 9-hour interview at the police station, Juliana confessed to killing Joe Ryan in the chaotic aftermath of a shocking assault on Christine. Juliana told police she left the Banfields' home to take the Banfields' young daughter Valerie to the National Zoo. She told the authorities that she had begun driving, but realized she had forgotten the lunches she made for their trip, so she turned around and went back to the house. When she arrived there, she noticed an unfamiliar car in the driveway. So she then called Brendan, who was a former criminal investigative agent for the IRS, who had at that point left for work. And she told him about the unknown car in their driveway. So the pair decided to meet at the Banfields' home and walk inside together. They walked into the bedroom to find Joe Ryan, who they claimed was an intruder, standing over a kneeling Christine with a knife to her throat. In Juliana's initial account of what
Wait,
happened
wait,
now.
wait, wait, wait.
Okay, okay,
I just
okay,
have to
okay.
jump in here.
Mm-hmm.
So they walked in, so
I know, I
nobody heard. First of all, you hear you hear the garage door open, because remember, most people on the East Coast will park their cars in the garage because why? Because the weather.
know.
And
Right?
it's raining, snowing, freezing cold. Number two, you leave your car parked out in the driveway and it's left up to the elements. This isn't freaking California. This isn't where it's like 80 degrees every other day. So you have to keep your car. So the garage door opens, which by the way, you can hear from inside the house. I don't care where you are in the house. Number two,
What
let's
garage
say
door?
came in, let's say you came in the front door or and then you walked in and you walked in the house and you walked into the bedroom. Like Joe Ryan is going to hear somebody
Oh, I
come,
see what you're saying.
you know?
Well, let's see. So Christine was still home. Now, this is what Juliana is saying during her 9-hour interview. After the scene is discovered. So she is saying that she and Brendan went back to the house. So Christine's still home, according to them, and so I guess Christine would have been parked in the garage, and Joe Ryan's car was outside. Yeah, but I see what you're saying, and we will discover that there's a lot of weight to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Listen,
And
this is what I'm
also, if
saying.
I pulled up in a driveway and there was a strange car out there, I would probably like text. I don't know. I would text and be like, hey, whose car is that? Or I get out and go walk around the car and see, is there a logo on the car? I kind of call him BS. And also, she left the lunches at home. So she turned around and went back to the house. She called Brendan. So what did she leave Valerie in the car? You know, it's
I
just,
know.
it's already chock full of holes.
Right? This is what I'm saying. People are so stupid.
And
This
also the sex toys, that's confusing. Like, did Joe Ryan bring a bag of sex toys with him to the house? Like, well, I hold this knife to your throat. I'm also going to show you a bag full of sexy stuff.
Yeah, well, they're gonna we'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what I wanted to talk about this because when I heard about it, I was doing the dishes while Gizella was talking. And I'm thinking, people actually do stuff like this. Well, we haven't gotten to it yet, but we will. But this is her account of it. Yes, that I forgot the lunch. I'm going back. They don't say where Valerie was, for little 4-year-old Valerie.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Like, you would probably text if you think, I don't know if they thought Christine was still home, but I would have texted her and said,
it's just chock full.
There's a car. Okay, well, and we'll find out why. Chock full of holes and nuts. They claim that Brendan and Juliana claim that when they walked into the bedroom, they find the intruder, Joe Ryan, standing over a kneeling Christine with a knife to her throat. So Juliana's initial account of what happened next was that Brendan, who carries a gun on the job, shot Joe in the head with his service revolver and shouted to Juliana to get another weapon from the bedroom safe. I don't know why she would have to get one since he has a perfectly functioning gun in his hand. And fearful that Joe, who was shot in the head, would attack again, she said she pointed the gun at him and fired the bullet that pierced his heart and killed him. Police, however, just like Joy, were not convinced by Juliana's story about interrupting the home invasion and killing an intruder in self-defense, because investigators soon discovered evidence that Brendan and Juliana were in a sexual relationship. Dun, dun, dun. First of all, why people do not hire hot nannies? I don't care.
You didn't say she was hot.
Well, look her up. I mean, she's 18 or 19. Come on. And she's from Brazil. I think you can fill in the rest. So there were text messages to Brendan sent from Juliana's phone, photos of the couple on a trip to New York City, and lingerie strewn on Brendan's bed. Shortly after Christine's murder, Juliana had already moved into the master bedroom with him, and a picture of the two of them were displayed on the nightstand. I mean, they wasted no time. So it turns out that back around August of 2022, so she was hired in 2021, they brought her into their home. And by August of 2022, Brendan fell for the au pair. And okay, Brendan, that's fine, fall for the au pair, but he had begun expressing his desire to be rid of his wife. So the deputy, this is what the deputy.
Here's a novel idea. Set your wife down one night and say, hey, I'm going to have a beer. Do you want to have like a glass of wine or something? And then just say, listen, I don't really want to be married to you anymore. I know it's hard to hear, and I know you're probably really going to be sad and devastated, but it's better to get it over with now. Like, rip the Band-Aid off. I just don't understand.
I don't get it
either. I'm scratching my head. Like, and also I'm thinking about like the carpet cleaners and the mattress and like all the mess you have to clean up now. It's like, if you just had that conversation, you wouldn't have to like deal with like, I mean, and also what about the bad juju now? You can never sell that home because when the real estate agent discloses, oh, and by the way, 2 people were brutally murdered in this bedroom, no one's going to buy it. The feng shui is so off the charts.
True to form, Joy is concerned with the cleanliness of the house. Listen, I don't. So in the Jodi Arias Travis Alexander case, where she brutally killed him in his bedroom and bathroom, someone did buy the house. And there was
God.
actually a show called Murder Flip House or Flip Murder House. You know how they flip homes? Well, this couple went around and flipped homes that,
Ew.
heinous murders had been
It should be called.
committed in.
It should be called. Try to buy this house that no one in their right mind would buy.
That's a
Like,
pretty long
or
title.
call it Feng Shui Nightmare. Get a bargain. Like, I
Listen,
can't even.
can I just go off on a little bit of a tangent? I think I had already told you about this. Okay, you guys, we're making jokes of this, but we realize that there were true victims, and we don't mean to disparage them. But in this, when this couple buys this condo, and it was in Mesa, Arizona, so not far from me. They asked this person, the one from the show, to help remodel the house. They wanted the bathroom to look nothing like was in the crime scene photos, and this and that. Jodi Arias had slit his throat in like the little area between, it's like a
Yikes.
little hallway between the hallway going into the bedroom. And when they pulled the carpet up, because they're going to replace all of that, they saw what they thought was blood. And so they did like a test on it, and it was. That freaked me out. So Alexander's blood was in the crevices. So they had to do a whole hazmat thing to clean it and
Yikes.
whatnot. Anyway, these are the things that I have in my brain every day. So,
They live
um,
rent free in Cheryl's brain.
that's right. So when he falls in love with the au pair, his next thing is, I got to get rid of my wife. I mean, they jump straight from that. I think I don't know what it
Not
is. I
like
think they're.
vegetables. It's not like throwing away dirty socks. Like,
I,
just sit her down and tell her, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be with you. I know it's
we
too
have.
late. I really wish they would have consulted with me before.
I was going to say that you all have permission. We will not go after you for copyright privileges. That you can take Joy's words verbatim. You can even record. You can take the
Yeah.
recording from this
Yeah.
and play it for the person that you want to leave. Please do not kill them.
Here's the
There's
thing.
no reason for
It
that.
hurts for a couple of minutes a day. Like, I'm here to tell you that 2 days tops. If you can make it first through those first 2 days, you're going to be good.
Well, that you're very hopeful. That's pretty quick, but it's a lot better than spending the rest of your life in jail and murdering the
Yeah.
mother of your child and all of that. It's just crazy. That's why I wanted to
Oh,
talk about this. So, in the weeks before the murders, Brendan allegedly created. Okay, this is where you guys, it gets crazy. You think that's crazy? I haven't even told you what actually happened. Brendan allegedly created a profile. We have to say allegedly because he has not gone to trial yet. He allegedly created a profile on a website for bondage and role play enthusiasts and began communicating with a fellow user, poor Joe Ryan. Days before the killings, Brendan directed Juliana, who posed as Christine, to call Joe Ryan on an encrypted messaging app and confirm the details of a consensual sexual encounter involving restraints used on her clothing being cut off with a knife, and other violent role play. Diabolical. Diabolical. On October 13, 2023, Juliana was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in the death of Joe Ryan. Nearly a year later, on September 16, 2024, citing recently obtained information, Commonwealth's attorney Steve Descano announced that Brendan had been indicted for murder in the deaths of both Joe Ryan and Christine. He says, "I will ensure that my office puts forward the strongest case possible at trial and that we continue to seek justice for the victims and their families." So what really happened on the morning of February 24th, 2023? Again, this is alleged because a trial has not happened, but Brendan and Juliana's carefully scripted plot to get Christine out of the way unfolded according to plan, authorities claim. At 7:17 a.m. that morning, Brendan was waiting at a nearby McDonald's, did not go to work, was waiting at a nearby McDonald's for Juliana to call when Joe Ryan arrived at the house for the pre-planned kinky sex date with Christine.
Also,
So
let me just back up a second. So here's the thing. Was Christine into the kinky sex date stuff?
no,
Because like it seems like you would have picked somebody who was really into that kind of bondage stuff, you know, if that was his wife's kink. But now this guy's going to show up and be like, I want to tie you up and put duct tape on your mouth and I'm going to flog you with this. And she's like, I'm not interested. And then he's going to go, bye. If that was like her kink, it would have worked out a lot easier.
Right. That's the one question I have is what happens when Joe Ryan actually shows up at the house? Because from what I can gather, because Brendan set up this fake account and Juliana posed as Christine, I can only surmise that Christine was not into that shit. This was a diabolical plan. Joe Ryan was into these things because he was on that site and they set him up. Now, I have heard of a case where it was a revenge case and it's horrible. I was going to talk about it after, but I'm going to talk about it right now. It is horrible what we can do now in the internet, in the shadows of the internet, that we can pose as different people. We can create profiles. So I heard a story where the guy was seeking revenge on his, I don't remember if it was wife, girlfriend, but on his significant other. And he, just like this, set up a profile and reached out and said, pretended he was the girlfriend or wife and said, I want to be raped. I want to be in a rape scene. That would turn me on. So this guy who's into that, he's for real. He shows up. And of course, if she's fighting and saying, no, he just thinks, yes, this is the act that we agreed to, right? Mm-hmm. So it is really awful what can happen these days. That morning, Brendan's waiting at a nearby McDonald's for Juliana to call when Joe Ryan arrives at the house for the pre-planned kinky sex date with Christine. And back at the house, Brendan and Juliana entered through the basement and left 4-year-old Valerie there. That's how she ended up in the basement. And I just don't even know how you leave your 4-year-old child who's going to be scared in the basement by themselves while you go upstairs and kill people. Right. It's diabolical. I mean, this is what it's incredulous to me that someone's probably doing this right now as we speak, Joy. This is how crazy this world is. So they enter through the basement and they climb the stairs to the second floor, and Brendan allegedly calls out police officer before he shoots Joe Ryan in the head and then stabs Christine. And then Juliana shot Ryan after she allegedly saw him moving on the floor. Now, I heard something that was like Brendan made Juliana be complicit and be involved by making her shoot someone, you know what I mean? Shoot Joe Ryan as well. But who knows? Who knows what really, I mean, those two are the only who knows what stupid thing they did. But whatever, the bottom line is that they set up this ruse. They killed Joe Ryan and they killed Christine and thought they were going to go on their merry way. They thought they were going to tell the police, yeah, this guy was an intruder. And then
I don't really think they were thinking.
You think?
I really don't.
Well, Brendan was thinking with his junk.
Yeah.
His junk in his, I mean, that's, come on. I don't mean to be crude.
The trunk, that's his junk.
Right. I mean, I don't mean to be crude, but he's got this hot nanny. I'm going to call her hot nanny. I don't care. I'm calling her hot nanny.
You're going to have to Google her.
Go ahead.
What was her name?
Juliana Margulies. I don't know how to pronounce it. I thought she was Spanish. Okay, so give me a break. Woo! In the months following Juliana's arrest,
I'm just here to tell you she's not that.
Okay, cute. No, but Joy,
First of
that's
all,
not nice to Juliana's parents. That's not very nice.
I'm not talking to her parents. I'm talking to you. And I'm just here to tell you that, like, I mean,
Okay, but let me just tell you this.
yikes.
Listen, I'm sorry. I don't mean to bag on you guys, but it doesn't matter even what. I am really not bagging on anybody, but I just want to say that Arnold Schwarzenegger had an affair with his nanny, and I don't think
Oh, I
I
thought
can.
it was the housekeeper.
Whatever.
Here's what I okay. Here's here's what I know.
Well, I stand corrected. It was
Okay.
the housekeeper, not the nanny.
I don't know everybody and everyone's situation, but here's what I do know. I think that Hollywood and films have created this narrative where if you're going to step out of your marriage, you have to do better.
Kill.
And
You have
no,
to
you
kill
have to,
yourself.
you basically have to, it's one-upmanship. Like you gotta bang someone hotter and younger
Okay,
and
Joy.
cuter than
No.
your wife. But the fact of the matter
Nope.
is, and this is what I know about
Nope.
cheaters, it don't matter. Like that guy was gonna stick it where he stuck it, and that's what he did.
That's what. Okay, while I go on about this, I want you to look up Arnold Schwarzenegger's
No, I have seen
housekeeper.
her. I have seen
Okay,
her.
and that
She basically looked like a matronly, like older, middle-aged, like a Hispanic lady. And I remember thinking,
and
you know
that's
what?
no
I'll bet you though,
shade to
no shade to
matronly.
Maria Shriver and no shade to that nice, kindly, middle-aged housekeeper. But I'll bet you whatever that was happening there was
It's
consensual and
new.
fun on both sides. Like she was having a
Oh
good time,
yeah.
he was having a
Oh
good time.
oh no no. I know it's consensual. This is we're going off Elena time. Elena time. Okay. But my point is that I don't think it matters if it's new pussy in the house. It's going to be
Meow.
attractive. If it's new kitty cat in the house, the men are going. You cannot. You guys don't hire any live-in whatever to make them go home and come back the next day for work. Okay. Anyway, so
Girl.
in the months following Juliana's arrest, while Brendan continued to live at the family's house with his daughter and his mother, guess what? Strains developed in the couple's relationship. Dun dun dun.
Surprise, surprise.
Right on cue. In a recorded jail call, Juliana can be heard saying to Brendan, I hope you are not just staying with me because you are afraid I'm going to turn against you. Famous last words. In another
Yep.
taped conversation found on his mother's phone, prosecutors say Brendan complained that the nanny can't keep her goddamn mouth shut on calls from jail. Finally, on October 29, just days before her murder trial was scheduled to begin, Juliana struck deal with pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter and agreeing to cooperate with authorities in exchange for potentially being released from custody on time already served. Meanwhile, Joe Ryan's friend Zulu Bay says he is grateful the truth is coming out about his eccentric pal's unwitting role in the twisted murder plot. I mean, it is really sad what happened to this man, Joe Ryan. I know he didn't do what they said he did, says Bay. He was just a pawn. Joe was the guy who took in the dogs that had no chance of being adopted and just loved the hell out of them. And a friend of Christine say Christine will be remembered for her service to community. She was unique. So, in all seriousness, my condolences to Joe Ryan's family and friends and Christine's family and friends, because this was two stupid people acting out. Well, I don't know if they thought they were in a freaking movie. But guys, just leave. I don't know. What is it? Is it because of the whole like they don't want to pay alimony and all that shit? Well, look, now you're going to be behind bars for the rest of your life, and you just took your daughter's mother away from. I mean, I don't understand. You know what? I can't wrap my head around, Joy,
What?
is Brendan stabbing his wife. Imagine taking a knife and slashing someone you loved and who is the mother of your child. I can't even imagine. You must have lost your mind. The kitty
Yeah.
cat in the house must have made him lose his mind, because I cannot
Meow.
imagine anything that would make me, first of all, kill an innocent person and stab the person that I've known for I don't even understand how you can go
Yeah,
through
it's
that.
kind of inconceivable.
It is. That's why I needed to talk about this. But I said this world is crazy. As we speak, there's stupid shit going on right now that I will be talking about down the road. There's
Thank
no
God for that.
shut up. There's no shortage of material,
None.
unfortunately.
There's so much material, guys. Keep it
It's
coming.
sad. God. So this case brought attention to au pairs. Juliana found her post through Cultural Care Au Pair, a large agency which declined to provide a statement, but also said it had cooperated with the police. It's not their fault, you know? Au pairs are more likely to face dangers in their American homes than the families they care for. I don't know
Yeah.
about that. According to the state policy director of the National Domestic Workers Alliance, which pushes for labor protections for domestic workers, Viviana, go ahead, Vivian Magal. Hey, yes,
Magalhaes, I don't know. Is that her mom?
that's her Juliana's stepmother. She told the Associated Press she hopes her stepdaughter can return home to Brazil soon. She said, "We still can't figure this out. I believe she was fooled by this guy. He brainwashed her. She was never a gold digger in Brazil. For many years, she dated a man who was as humble as she was. We could never think of her living in a situation like
She was
this."
18. What does she mean for many years?
Right?
When she was sent, I was like, come on. Like, I mean, what kind of statement is that?
Sure.
For many years. What, her high school boyfriend? I was like, good Lord.
You know what? I love you so much. That did not even cross my mind that she was 18.
Many
when
years.
she
Get
got-
the fuck out of here. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God. This is why I hang around Joy, you guys. I'm hoping that her brilliance I will get it through osmosis. And then I loved this line in one of the articles I read. Brendan Banfield is no longer employed by the IRS.
Oh, God.
I was like, you really, no shit, Sherlock.
But if he's a convicted felon, there's a good chance he can run for president.
Oh,
See what I did there?
We're not going to go into that.
Uh-huh.
We respect everyone's opinions and
Well,
beliefs.
you do.
Right?
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
just, the moral of the story is no fresh kitty cats in your house, guys.
You are so funny. Remember Louise, was it Woodward? She was the
Shaken baby?
Nanny from United Kingdom.
Yeah, the one that was accused of shaking the baby.
Taking care of, she's 43, by the way. She teaches dance classes now, and she is a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she did say that, I know there are people waiting for me to have a baby so they can say nasty things. She was working for 2 doctors, but I remember one of the things that came out. Okay, let me just back up.
Okay.
When I was 26, I moved back home to help take care of my grandmother who had Parkinson's disease and was no longer able to care for herself. So that's why I moved home. One of the things my grandmother said once was, I bet when you were little and I was changing your diapers, you never thought someday you would be changing my diapers.
Oh God,
And
heartbreaking.
it was when I look back on it, it was like such an important thing that I did. And I'm thankful that I did it. But I will say that it was not easy. I met a series of nannies from Spain and from Latvia and from Italy that were coming to the United States through a nanny agency and being placed with families around the Napa Valley. These were 1 year commitments. These were girls between the ages of 18 and 26 who wanted to spend a year in the United States learning English and living with a host family and taking care of children, obviously. And some of these families were very nice families, and they had their kids in daycare or in school, and the nannies would pick them up, get them a snack, play with them, help them with their homework, etc. And then on weekends, usually one day the nanny would have off and one day the nanny would spend with the family doing something. And they became a part of the family. There were other situations where the houses were a disaster. The parents, quote unquote, homeschooled the kids, which meant they didn't go to conventional school and they just lounged around the house with no instruction. And the parents were very lazy and they didn't clean and they expected the nanny to do everything. And it was horrifying. What we would do is we would get together a group of young people who were in the area and we would include these girls and we go out once a week and have like kind of a, single girls night out, and we got to be good friends with some of these nannies. And I will say that the thing that was shocking and horrifying was how little money these girls made. I remember the first 6 months, they would make like, I think it was like $135 a week. A week.
Mm.
And then the second year, they would get paid like double. So it would be like $260 a week. And
Okay, wait.
they got
Can I ask, but this was what, how many years ago?
This was like in 1998 or something like that. But I will also
And
that
they got room and board though, right? They got room and board.
But they're not getting paid that much more, and it's an experience. So it is true that they're more likely to face dangers where they're being sexually assaulted, where they'll get sick and maybe they won't have proper care, or maybe the family doesn't advocate for them if something bad happens to them, or they feel isolated because they don't speak very much English and they're stuck in the middle of Iowa somewhere. So there are a lot of cases where the girls are not being cared for. But in this case, I remember it was two doctors and they had two children. And I remember always wondering, why wouldn't two doctors be able to afford somebody other than a nanny that's running you maybe $125, $130 a week? Like, why wouldn't you hire a professional nanny that wants $60,000 a year plus a car and health insurance?
Why would they when the husband can get a sweet young thing in there? I don't mean to be mean, but
that's the thing though. It's like it just kind of shocked me and surprised me. Now I know that these nanny agencies have changed a lot and they're not all like this anymore, and they've had to change a lot because of cases like Louise Woodward, where the baby like something I think the baby ended up dying.
Oh yeah.
And she ended up going back to her country of origin, but of course her name is recognizable. I know she's a mother now, but still, I mean,
what was it again?
Louise Woodward. I would think 3 or 4 or 500 times before I hired a nanny to live in my house. Not because I would be worried that she would sleep with my husband, but because I'd be worried she'd axe murder me in the middle of the night, thanks to Cheryl.
Yeah, well, it's both. And then it's just insult to injury if the husband, like in this case, does fall for the nanny and kills you. It's bad enough if there's only one thing going on, but I just don't know, as a woman, to get a young girl. Listen, why take I just don't get it.
All right.
I don't get it. People
who wrote this article, because I love that they had to include that he's not working for
the
IRS anymore. Like there was any question in any of our minds. Oh, I wonder if he still works for the IRS.
I know.
He got a job with Homeland Security now.
He's been promoted. Listen, that's why I had to add it, because I just thought it was freaking hilarious that you had to put these.
That is so many kinds of ridiculous, I can't even tell you.
Yeah. I do have, just back up real quick. Do have a question about That's why I don't think they're Brendan and Juliana are telling the complete truth because
Oh, you
when
don't
they're
think so? Yeah.
okay, I don't know that
Sure,
that just sounded.
you might be onto something.
I didn't want to sound as stupid as I just sounded, but
Inspector Gadget.
listen, no, but they said that when they were trying to come clean, that they went into the upstairs bedroom and Brendan shouted police. But I'm just like, how did the guy Joe Ryan get in the house? Because Christine, she's oblivious to this kinky sex plan. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how
And
it's like going
also,
back to what you said. How does she let
I
him in the house?
I don't know. I mean, I will say this. I bet you anything we're going to find out a lot more about this case before
In the
it's
trial.
over. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
what was that conversation like when the IRS cut him loose?
That's what Joy's interested in.
Hey, I don't think it's going to work out anymore. Or maybe you need to check in with the employee assistance program. We're going to be downsizing and we feel like you're headed in another
Oh
direction.
God.
Maybe our vision's not the same. You know, your area of opportunity is probably
Oh
marriage.
God. Oh.
I have to say, the biggest crime for me in this case is that we
Mhm.
don't have all the facts
Yeah.
because
Well,
I can't. Did they talk about when there's going to be like a court case and all that stuff and sentencing? Because I'm gonna have my popcorn ready for this one.
I'll keep you guys updated. Gizela will keep me updated, and then I'll pass it on to you.
This is so problematic in so many ways that
Oh, I know.
I can't even. I mean, well, I've already started to tell you all the problems. Yeah, go Google this couple. I gotta tell
I,
you,
I
they
just
are they are a, like piece of work. You got to just Google them so you can get a little mental picture on what we're working with.
well, my takeaway is no hot. I don't care what you consider hot. I don't care what your definition of it. No hot, young, new kitty cats in the house. I actually, even if they're older, I don't think that would stop a man, depending on their mindset. They're like dogs.
Here's what I wonder. I wonder if Christine had found out that there was something going on because it seems like that would have been really hard to keep a secret and that Christine and Juliana had already been at odds and
Yeah, we
so they
don't know.
had to speed up their crime and that's why it was such a disaster, you know?
I think you could be right. There's so much we don't know. There's so hey, I also want to say I apologize to our male listeners, and Joy also told me that our male listenership has increased. So thank you guys, and I'm sorry I am not generalizing, and even though it sounded like I was. Not all men are dogs. I
And
know.
if you're a
And
male,
Joyce,
reach out and let us know. Do you
yes.
think that bringing an 18-year-old nanny into your sanctuary, into your love nest, into your safe space, do you think that would be problematic to your marriage? Do you think that would you like to think that you could resist the charms of an 18-year-old Brazilian hottie, lounging around your house and I don't know, wearing shorty shorts and holding your
Mhm.
baby and making snacks and watching TV and all that good stuff?
Be honest and write
Yeah.
in, please. Please.
Let us know. We're going to stand by so Cheryl can unpack more of this case as she gets it because
Mhm.
I feel like we have so much more. Like
We
maybe we'll
just
have part
scratched the
two.
surface. Yeah, we
Yeah,
scratched the surface.
we'll have hot nannies when hot nannies attack part two. Anyway, I had to say that sadly for Christina Joe, this was a horrible, horrible crime.
Yeah, it was.
But you know what else is a crime?
What's that, Joy?
That we are out of time.
That is a crime. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and don't complicate your day. All creativity, commentary, and opinions in this podcast belong to Cheryl and Joy. Music composed and mixed by Gabe McKeon. Logo and merch managed by Cheryl Yamaguchi. Podcast editing, advertising, and social media managed by Joy McKeon. Legal representation provided by John Bojezic. Please like, subscribe, follow, and listen. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible.com, Amazon Music, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And remember, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok, or you can email us at murderandeverythingelse@gmail.com.
Bye, fishes.